If you need to work with a 1/4 inch seam allowance like a lot of quilters do, it really is important to perfect it. Along with working with a good ruler, accurate rotary cutting, you will find that finding the new 1/4 inch seam allowance on your new machine can take just a little bit of practice. First off, your A or B foot is not a 1/4 inch foot. It is wider than a 1/4 inch. And you can purchase optional accessories like the 1/4 inch foot with guide. This is a nice one you use just with a regular straight stitch in the center needle position. This one happens to be the clear version. And so as you set that down, you just go ahead and use that along the guide. It's great for kiddos because then it's almost like little training wheels as they stitch along, and they can just keep the edge of the fabric along the guide. Now, you also have a stitch that is programmed as a 1/4 inch stitch in this machine. Okay, so you see how nice and even that is. What we do find is up here on stitch number 1 in row 2. You notice this stitch, it actually says 1/4 inch, and you'll notice that the stitch is positioned slightly to the right side. When we select that stitch, we're going to find that in row 2, stitch number 1, touch OK, that it actually has you use a standard foot, either A or B, depending on your fabric you've selected. And that will work. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this. I'm noticing I'm on a woven heavy, so I'm going to change that to a woven light. My preference for a cotton fabric. Now with this, you would use the presser foot up against the edge of the fabric. Now, that's pretty easy. You can just roll that along there. But I find myself usually needing a guide of some sort. And that is why I like the 1/4 inch edge stitching foot is what it's actually called if you're asking your dealer for this foot. You notice a couple things. It does have a guide on the side. Plus, this red line is moved over to the right side. This is to be used in conjunction with this stitch. So the reason I like it is because you have more foot on the fabric at any given time, and then everything is lined up perfectly. Plus, the guide makes it super easy to stitch. If you find you are not getting the accurate seam allowance that you need, you can still move the needle position a little to the right to get a scant 1/4 inch, and you can continue to move it over and get even smaller than that. You could go for an 1/8 of an inch. You eventually are going to run out of room on this foot, but definitely measure out your seam allowance once you've pressed open your fabric and see what you have actually achieved. But this is my preferred foot when doing a 1/4 inch seam.